the hyperinflation has not occurred all these years, and everybody was expecting it. And the reason why it hasn't occurred is hyperinflation is not a product of deflation. Simply put, back in 2008, that was a deflationary event. It caused a deflationary slump that's lasted for years. And they've been saying, oh, we're in an economic recovery all this time. And there is no economic recovery. We've been in a slump. All that money creation just helped us keep us from going into a super powerful deflationary event. That's what kept us from doing. But you don't have a hyperinflation from deflation. You get a hyperinflation when the velocity of money goes up, not when the velocity of money's flatlining like it is now, and the velocity of money's way down low. You see this increase in the velocity of money. And that's when prices start to increase on everything exponentially. And the thing is we have not experienced that since 2008 till now. And we have not had a hyperinflation. But trust me, that doesn't mean that we're not going to have a hyperinflation. That just means we haven't had it till now. There's been factors that have been safeguarding the dollar. Silver has been manipulated through paper short contracts, and they've admitted it. It's a proven fact. They've manipulated the price. Gold, they've manipulated the price through paper contracts. And they've manipulated the price of oil. And the thing is that all three of these things have supported the dollar, keeping the dollar from going into a hyperinflation. But these are zero-sum games. These are games that they can play only if they have the underlying supplies in place of physical oil. And yes, there is physical oil. Physical oil is in a barrel. It's the real thing. You dip your hand down, it's all black and covered and coated in oil. That's real physical oil. Physical gold and physical silver. They need these actual, they can't just have nothing but air behind the contracts. And so they were responsible for this glut of oil we seen, where they filled all the tanks, all the tankers, everything was full of oil there a few months back, because they were producing so much oil out of West Texas. So that oil just didn't come out of the ground by magic in West Texas. That oil was produced because bankers went in there and they lent tremendous amount of money out to put these wells and wellheads in and all these rigs. And then you had all this oil coming, and then there was an oil war with OPEC, and they fought over the price. So everything has a reason why it's happening. And the reason and the timing was not right for hyperinflation. Over those years, people thought it was going to come, like 2011, 2012, 2013, 2014, 2015, 2016. But guess what? Things have changed. Things don't always stay the same. And now the flows of money have shifted. And the shifting point was when you saw the shifting point in the bond market. Now you have to go back a few months, back to around July of this last year. That's when you saw the bond market change, the flow of direction of money change. And we haven't felt it so much yet. Not yet, we haven't. We haven't felt it. But it's coming. It's a tsunami that's coming. And like, okay, I'll give you an example. Some people, there's an earthquake or whatever, and they're out there on the beach. And actually, the waves pull away. Everything pulls away and draws out to the ocean. And they're walking out on the beach because they say, hey, where's the water? The water's disappeared. You know? And they think that they don't think there's ever a tsunami or anything coming because the water's disappeared. Well, that's what's happening right now. We're in that period right now that's like, and I know what's coming. I'm the guy that's out there yelling at them, hey, the tsunami's coming. You know? This is the reason why the water's not here. And they're like, what? What? They don't know what I know. And so, this is what I'm telling you. That, honest to gosh, the flows of money have changed already. This is coming. And you're going to see, at the very start of this, the real warning sign that the trouble's coming is a real recovery in the economy. Not an imaginary, like they've been saying, oh, we have an economic recovery. No, you're going to start to see a real pickup. A real pickup in the economy. And that pickup in the economy, then you're going to start to see prices go up on stuff. Not that much at first. You're going to see like your box of cereal, you've been buying it, say it's $2.98, right? And all of a sudden you're going to go in and it's going to be $3.49. You're going to be like, the economy's picked up. There's new jobs and everything, and I'm making more money than I ever made. You're going to feel good. It's going to feel good because there's an economic recovery going on. And all the newspapers are going to tout the economic recovery. It's going to be real, so everybody's going to believe in it. This is your warning sign that the real trouble's coming, because then that cereal goes up to $3.49. And then you come back a month later and it's $5.49. And it's going to keep accelerating like that, faster and faster. The prices are on everything. And then you're going to come back a couple months later, and that same box of cereal will be $10.99. It's going to be unbelievable. And a little while later, you're going to come back, and that same box of cereal is $29.99. And then $89.99. And then $999 for a box of cereal. And when it starts to accelerate like that, that's when it's really going to pick up faster and faster. And that's when things are going to start to change again. Because things are not going to get good then. Things are going to get bad. Bad fast. A disaster bad. You know? When the prices start to pick up like that. And it's going to be absolutely the complete destruction of the currencies. And then people are going to massively be trying to get out. Because one thing just leads to another. It's momentum. There's a law of the universe where if an object's in motion, it tends to stay in motion. And what happens is we've been in this slump, but it's starting to turn. It's going the other way. And when it starts to get in motion in the opposite direction, and the money starts to go up, then that just continues to roar away. Jim Richards described it probably best. He said that they've been playing around trying to achieve, the Federal Reserve, trying to achieve their inflation numbers. They have a goal of a certain percentage of inflation. And he says it's like them dialing a thermostat. They think they're dialing a thermostat. He says, but what they're really dialing is a nuclear reactor. And he said all of a sudden, the thing's going to go critical on them. It's going to run away. He explains that very well. Because he's known this is coming for a long time. Jim Rickards has. And there's a number of other economists that know this has been coming, and they've been waiting for it. But one of the mistakes a lot of them have been making is they've been looking for the economy to get worse, a sloping economy, to cause the hyperinflation. That's a mistake. What causes it is when the economy finally starts to heat up again. That's the trigger. It's not the economy getting worse. That's not the trigger. See, they've got the wrong trigger. They think that's the trigger when the economy's getting worse. The government can always control that when the economy's getting worse through money creation. They can always feed a bit of money into the system and pick it up. But it's the opposite. When the economy starts heating up, that they lose control. You see? And what's the man on the street going to feel when the economy starts to heat up? You're going to feel better for the first time in a long time. It's going to feel good. And see, that's when the banks start to loan money again. And that just makes things feel better. All that money's going to start coming into the system. And then what happens is all these people that have been hoarding money all this time while things have been bad, they say, gee, now we can afford that new TV. You know? Well, they say, Martha, you know all that money we've been saving for all these years when times have been bad? And she says, yes. And he says, well, you know, I've been putting off buying that new widescreen TV all this time, you know, but things are good now. We're in a recovery. I'm going to go out and buy it. Well, what does that do to the price of those new widescreen TVs? You see the price go up. And this is all the way across the board on everything. So you're starting to see how this is a self-feeding cycle once it gets started and it starts to run away. And there's nothing the Fed can do at that point, because then if they try to use the tool of money creation, they're just going to feed the monster. See, with deflation, they can use, deflation starts to go down. So it's way down. They feed money into the system and they bring it back up again. And they have control over it. But with this monster's going up. And if they try to slow it down by creating money, which is their big tool, they're just going to speed it up all the faster going up. So they lose control over it and it flies away on them. And that is the real crisis. And that's all the trigger to look for is not a weakening economy, which a lot of economists have been saying, oh, the hyperinflation's coming because we can point to a weakening economy. They got it wrong. It's a strengthening economy. That's the trigger. You see? These same economists get an awful lot of things wrong. They tell you, hey, you know, the dollar's not backed by anything at all. That's not true either. The dollar is backed by oil. It's called a petrodollar. In fact, this whole entire system we have here is an oil-based economy. Now, here's the thing. One of the biggest triggers of all is the oil price going back up again to weaken the dollar. That's one of your biggest triggers that's going to strengthen the economy and set this whole thing in motion. And I've been saying this from day one, from when I started my channel, that this whole thing is linked to oil. Oil is your big trigger. So you got to watch that oil price. When that oil price starts to go back up, and trust me, it's going to go back up. There might be a few doodles down on its way up, but eventually it's going to go back up. When they go out there and they take a look at those big oil containers out there, and West Texas isn't bringing in what it used to, right? And these other countries are cutting back production, and they go out and they take that dipstick and they put it down into that big tank, and they notice that it's 6 feet lower than it was 2 months ago. Then the signal's going to go out to raise the oil price. Watch. Okay, thank you for listening. Like and subscribe, and bye-bye for now.